Hello and welcome to the next episode of What's Up with PRECorp podcast. This is Tim Velder, Marketing Communications Specialist, and co-host is Courtney Dixon from our accounting department. Courtney.
All right, we're happy to be back today, and we have a very special guest. Bill Mertz is joining us today. So, Bill, why don't you tell us, who you are and where you're from, and what do you do here at Powder River?
You bet. Thank you for the time and the opportunity here. So as you mentioned, my name is Bill Mertz, and I happened to have joined PRECorp here a couple of years ago, coming up on my fourth year in August, as a matter of fact. And I'm originally from Arizona. That's where I have a lot of roots, but I've moved to Sundance, Wyoming, where it's home, and glad to be here. And what I serve our members through the PRECorp members through an entity called Members First Power Cooperative, where I serve in the role of General Manager, CEO.
So how did you end up here? Obviously you said you had a kind of a winding road to get here, but where did you start out, and kind of how long have you been in the co-op world, and how has your role evolved?
Yeah, thank you. So I've worked at generation and transmission electric cooperatives. That's how I actually started out in the industry in Arizona, and then have also worked for electric distribution cooperatives, mostly in the Rocky Mountain region, including most recently Colorado before I came here. I've also worked in and out of the industry with some other things, including cybersecurity, but the co-op space has been my home for more than a couple of decades. So I've been around for a while, and I joined PRECorp, like I mentioned or alluded to, about almost coming up in 4 years in August. So, and what brought me here was the fact that PRECorp had an opportunity where I could join the team and contribute, and researching them. They have an incredible culture, which that's what I discovered when I was searching for this opportunity, and more importantly, that's what I've discovered now having lived within this culture, incredible culture. So that's why I'm excited to be here.
Thank you.
All right, so you said that you kind of serve us as the CEO of Members First. So if we were in the elevator, what the heck is Members First? Give me your elevator speech.
You bet. All right. Well, let's go up to whatever floor, the 10th or 11th floor. Here we go. So Members First is a G&T is a member of Basin Electric, which is called a super G&T, and it has multiple generation and transmission companies, members, and Members First is one of those. And of Members First, PRECorp is a distribution co-op who's a member of Members First. That's a lot of members, by the way, for me to say that. But at the end of the day, there was a need for Powder River Energy and two other co-ops out of Montana to have representation at the Basin Board of Directors. And that opportunity came to have a continuation of board influence at Basin as PRECorp through Members First. And so Members First is what they call a Class A generation and transmission member of Basin Electric Power Cooperative, headquartered in Bismarck. And that's really where a lot of the steel in the ground and actual physical generation happens, not necessarily in Bismarck, but through Basin Electric Power Cooperative. They are whom we buy our wholesale power from. And so that's how that relationship works today. So easily said, Basin Electric Power Cooperative sells energy to Members First Power on a wholesale power contract, and Members First sells that to three other distribution cooperatives, one of which is Powder River Energy Cooperative.
Just a quick follow-up. Each of them has their own board of directors, and PRECorp is represented on all three boards. And how does that feel with that grassroots, or people from the co-op are actually represented on that board?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, Tim, because I can attest, having lived, as I said, in the co-op space of world across here in the Rocky Mountain region, one of the power, if you would, or one of the great benefits of being a co-op is you have membership represented by those you elect. And I can attest to you that the PRECorp board is a very active and engaged board, as well as their representatives that they have on Members First. And that goes all the way up to Basin, because one of the Basin board of director members is a member of our Members First Board as well as the PRECorp Board, Mr. Paul Baker. And I've seen Mr. Baker. He'd hate me complimenting him, but so this is not going to go live. Nobody will hear me compliment.
No, this
Paul.
will stay right here.
Yeah, nobody will
between
hear me
us.
compliment Mr. Baker about his contributions, but he's an active, engaged board member as well as the other members of Members First. And certainly I've seen that engagement and activity with our PRECorp Board of Directors.
Very good. And so just any final thoughts for the membership that maybe something that they don't know about the relationship between the three co-ops and that maybe it'd be kind of cool for them to know.
You know, I like that. One of the, if you would, mantras or statements that Members First has kind of adopted is courage, commitment, and cooperation. And it really is kind of part of the 7 principles of cooperatives, right? Cooperation amongst cooperatives. Well, all 3 of those entities are cooperatives, and all 3 of those entities are combining their efforts to kind of help, if you would, their members, each and every one of them. And again, what you're hearing is that when there's things that need to be addressed or influenced or collaborated on through that board representation, whether it's here in Sundance through the PRECorp board or represented in all of our service territory, sure, in all the counties that we serve, the bottom line is that those concerns, those things that are important to our members, which includes safe, reliable, predictable, right, affordable, and a valued kind of service that includes providing electrons, right, that focus exists at every single one of those boards. And your representation to your board of directors is represented at Members First and articulated strongly and advocated, and it's equally advocated and strongly discussed at the basin level as well. So it's kind of cool to see it at all 3 spaces and come together. So I guess that's what I would add.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, thank you, Bill. Any final thoughts, Courtney?
I think it's great that you reiterated that, members have concerns. It is being heard at several levels, and our board is working diligently to make sure those concerns are heard and acted upon when appropriate. So thank you for helping with the facilitation of that as well.
Well, and can I add one little tidbit? I mean, a good representation of that is the most recent conversations that are happening in D.C., where Mr. Trump invited electric cooperatives to talk about energy solutions. And you saw Basin Electric represented there. In fact, we're all in some form or fashion represented in D.C. in front of that. And those recent executive orders were supporting our communities, which, coal is a big part of that, natural gas. And so that element and being a part of the Wyoming cooperative network and a part of the Basin family, and of course, Members First, you're seeing that advocacy go on. So,
very good. Thank you for your efforts. This, I guess, kind of wraps up our episode for today. One thing to always remind the members, if you have any questions whatsoever or concerns about your local co-op, but also your regional partners, give us a call at 1-800-442-3630. We'll get your questions to the right person, and they will come back and get you an answer.
And that's what's up with PRECorp this month. Be sure to find us anywhere you can find your podcasts and follow and like us on social media. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.